Thank you, Jen. Earlier this week, you said that the U.S. had secured commitments with the governments of Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras to bolster security forces at their border. But yesterday, the special envoy for the Northern Triangle testified on Capitol Hill that there were no agreements. So can you explain the discrepancy?
I'd have to look back at his testimony, Kristen.
I have it right here. He said he was asked by Congressman Castro, he said, Congressman Castro asked him, I just want to confirm, were there any agreements reached in relation to increasing border security in these countries? And the special envoy said, no, there were no agreements concluded with governments regarding border security.
Well, whether or not it was a formal agreement, which it was not, and I never conveyed that it was, these were steps that these countries indicated they plan to take to increase personnel and security to reduce the number of migrants coming across the border. Those are steps they've taken on the ground.
Just to be clear, are these new commitments that the Biden administration has secured, or were they already in existence?
We never described it as a formal declaration or a formal agreement, but additional steps that they were taking to increase personnel at the border. And those are steps that you can confirm with those countries that they have taken.
Okay,
Go ahead.
One more question.
I just have to get around to everyone, so I'll come back to you, I promise. Go ahead.
If I can go back to gun safety legislation on the Hill, you know, we're hearing you talk over and over again about the president's support of the House bills, but right now it just doesn't seem like you guys have those votes in the Senate. But we've heard from some Republican senators a willingness to work on a more limited package around background checks. So why not pitch something a little bit more limited, try to get something across the finish line? Is the president willing to engage on a more targeted background check bill?
I would say that I would punt that question back to the Republicans, who are not supportive of universal background checks or an extension of that, which 80% of the public supports. So our question to them would be, why don't you support what the vast majority of your own constituents support? And this is an expansion of background checks, which prevents guns getting into the hands of people who should not have them. So that's where I would punt you.
And you're saying that the executive actions the president took on gun safety were initial steps. You've used that phrase over and over.
Yep.
So what's next? Give us some preview of what other executive actions you guys are considering, because otherwise it's just passing the buck to Capitol Hill.
I think it's hardly that. And again, I would say the president has been working on these issues throughout his career for decades. He helped get the assault weapons ban passed. He helped get background checks passed as a part of the Brady bill. He helped lead the effort to get 24 executive actions in place when he was vice president, and just took actions on his own. There is a responsibility and a role for the Senate to play. There's a separation of powers here, and also he's looking forward to signing that legislation. So I would say that advocates should pressure Republicans in the Senate, that all of you should pressure Republicans in the Senate and ask them why they are opposing universal background checks when the vast majority of the American public supports it.